Let's talk about the death of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at the hands of fellow 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, and the fact that Carmelo Anthony, the accused murderer, has fundraised more money for his legal defense than Metcalf's family has raised for his funeral expenses. This particular case is stirring up a lot of controversy, and there are racial talks happening regarding the fact that the alleged murderer is fundraising more money than the family who lost their child to this senseless violence. A lot of what we heard about this case is based on witness testimony. However, we found that there is a video recording of the incident in police custody. Also, the testimony from Carmelo Anthony himself, who of course survived the altercation with Austin Metcalf, who ended up dying after being stabbed by Carmelo Anthony. So if you didn't know, this took place in Frisco, Texas at a track meet. Let's take a look at what the Daily Mail article wrote. It says, an arrest report says a confrontation between two star football players began when Metcalf, that being Austin Metcalf, told Carmelo Anthony, that he was sitting under another person's pop-up tent and told him to move. So the two students are from different high schools. They began fighting before Anthony unzipped his bag and reached in and told Metcalf, touch me and see what happens. The report says Metcalf then grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony pulled out a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest, then reportedly ran away before he was arrested by the responding officers. And apparently, he told a school resource officer that he was just protecting himself and that Metcalf, he put his hands on me. Carmelo Anthony then asked an officer if what he did could be considered self-defense, and even asked if the victim was going to be okay. According to police, Austin's twin brother Hunter was by his side and held him in his arms until he died. That's a lot. First of all, my sincerest condolences to the Metcalf family. This should have never happened, and it's utterly ridiculous to lose your life over something like that. Now, there's huge controversy over the money that's being raised by both families. Again, Austin Metcalf's family is fundraising to cover funeral expenses and whatever other expense they might have following the loss of their child. Carmelo Anthony's family is fundraising for his legal defense and saying that there is a lot of fraudulent information out there and that Anthony acted in self-defense. And as of now, the Metcalf family has raised about $385,000, and the Anthony family has raised over $555,000. One is alive and one's dead, but I don't know. The platform Give, Send, Go, which is hosting the Anthony family, has received a lot of backlash for them hosting the family, to which the co-founder, Heather Wilson, responded, and she wrote, and I quote, I want to share my perspective on the ongoing discussion about whether we should allow fundraising for individuals who've been charged with a crime. We're now seeing similar outrages from the right as we once did from the left when we allowed campaigns for Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny. In both of those cases, we upheld the principle that someone is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Shouldn't that same standard apply here as well? A few key things to consider. One, in each of these high-profile cases, someone tragically lost their lives. In each case, there was no mystery around who was involved in the incident. And in each case, the media narrative was filled with half-truths and misleading headlines, making it difficult to discern the full picture. And in each case, people showed up to give, not necessarily because they condoned the actions, but because they wanted to support due process and ensure a fair trial. From the beginning, we've decided that Give, Send, Go would not serve as judge and jury. We're not here to decide who deserves a defense. That's the role of our justice system. The right was outraged when GoFundMe removed Rittenhouse campaign. Do you now believe a big tech should censor based on their personal beliefs around a situation? She goes on to say, if we truly believe in consequences, let's make sure they come through due process, not mob outrage. Let the facts come out, let the courts decide, and let us remain consistent. The question is, should Carmelo Anthony be able to have a Give, Send, Go? Absolutely. He's innocent until proven guilty, and he's going through the process of being prosecuted for a crime. He should be able to raise money for his legal defense. However, after hearing the story and reading the police report, I am struggling to believe this was purely an act of self-defense. So So let's take a look into Texas law to see if this confrontation was justified with death. Here is an overview of Texas Penal Code Section 9.3. So Texas self-defense is justified under Section 9.31 of the Penal Code when a person reasonably believes force is immediately necessary to protect themselves against another's use or attempted use of unlawful force. This includes situations where someone is unlawfully entering or attempting to enter their home, vehicle, or place of business, or when they are facing imminent threat of aggravated kidnapping, murder, sexual assault, robbery, or aggravated robbery. Now, we have not seen the video footage of the incident, nor do I want to watch the killing of a child. But there are over 30 witnesses, including coaches and students from 5 different schools, who says it was a case of Metcalf telling Anthony that he's under the wrong tent. Confrontation ensues. Anthony reaches into his bag and tells him to touch me again to see what happened. Metcalf touched Anthony, and Anthony stabbed Metcalf in the chest. Then he runs off. As a parent, I cannot imagine losing my child in this manner. This situation does not warrant death whatsoever. I'm confused why they couldn't just duke it out like normal teenagers do. Imagine you send your kid to school, he argues with another kid, then that kid drives a knife into his chest, killing him. Like, that's extreme. Carmelo Anthony is going to have to prove that there was somehow a reasonable way to believe he was facing death or serious bodily injury or some sort of aggravated robbery. He will also have to prove that he didn't provoke the encounter. Touch me and see what happens while reaching into his bag screams provocation. Like he was waiting for an opportunity. I still don't understand why Anthony didn't just punch Metcalf for allegedly touching him, like any other kid that I know would have. I mean, obviously we don't have every detail of this case. We don't even have the video footage. I'm no judge or juror, but I believe there was a better way to handle this. What's really sad to me is that Carmelo Anthony's fundraiser, there are a lot of Black Power fizz. Black people are saying, united we stand, and Anthony stood his ground, and that this is how you're supposed to deal with bullies. One wrote, and I quote, "It's cool when they do it, but it's a problem when we do it. You know the rest. It's us against them, period. Praying for the family." Wait, what? When was killing ever cool? They're dead ass wrong when they do it, and we're wrong if we're doing it like them. If the rules were reversed, we'd be protesting and trying to burn this thing to the ground. There is no reason why any reasonable adult should be praising the actions of this young man, especially any parent. If I didn't know the race of either parties, and I heard this story, I would automatically assume that whoever did the killing deserves some time. The tension in our country surrounding race makes us feel like if we aren't on the side of those who look like us, then somehow we are siding with the oppressor or the opposition. This is why Anthony, despite still being alive and have taken the life of Metcalf, has raised more money than him. It's being perceived as activism to donate to someone simply because they are Black. So there must be some sort of injustice happening there because they're Black. Well, no. Everyone is free to donate to whom they like. Put your money where your heart is. But I just want Black people to hold the line and stand firm on what they believe in, regardless of race. Because if the roles were reversed, again, we'd be ready to go to war. We'd feel like they deserve some jail time. And if they were both Black, we'd be siding against Anthony. So just because the system continues to fail us as Black people, it's still wrong to support our own and their own wrongdoings on the premises that white people get away with it all the time, so we should be able to get away with it too. No, wrong is wrong. I mean, quite simply, no one should be able to get away with taking someone's life, whether you're white, Black, purple, or pink. I don't think this is helping Black people in any regards, and I feel bad for the Metcalf family as I would a Black family, because wrong is wrong, period. Well, now, Carmelo Anthony, he has been released from jail. The teenager who drove a into Austin Metcalf's chest is now walking free. Not because he was found innocent, not because there's no new evidence that cleared his name, but because a judge slashed his bond by 75% from $1 million down to $250,000. That is a slap in the face of a grieving parent. Just imagine, put yourself in that parent's shoes. If I am the parent of Austin Metcalf, I am pissed. He posted bond and then he just strolls on out of there like he's on house arrest. Like he just received a parking ticket. Let's be clear. A young man is dead, a family is shattered to pieces, and the person accused of this heinous act is at home playing his Xbox. And we're just supposed to not bat an eye about this. We're just supposed to act like this is a normal part of life. It's a normal part of the process. But again, law enforcement does have video footage, and depending on what's on the tape, it could flip this case. However, I feel like the damage is already done. They've sent a clear message that if the system likes you enough, then you just might get a discount. Like, this is wild. With the $500,000 that the Anthony family raised for his legal defense, they've upgraded their lifestyle. We're talking mansions with full security, brand new Escalades, new designer sneakers. One person who donated to his Gifts and Go wrote, and I quote, "Donating again until Carmelo is free. I do not care how the money is used. I am not concerned with the comments of pocket watching tethers, coons, nor any other anti-black racist. Keeping the family in my prayers." You don't care how the money is used? If I'm donating for something I expect my money will be used for, I need my money to be used just for that. How can I emotionally put my money out there in times like this so someone could upgrade their lives after engaging in such a violent act? Like I wonder, does the family feel like, wow, my son did this thing and now look at the luxuries that I get to experience? Like, remember when the Black Lives Matter funds were used to purchase a $6 million mansion? How the hell was the purchase of that home beneficial to any Black people as a collective? I think before we put our coins out, we need to gather all the facts and make an intellectual decision that makes sense. From what I see, using the money for personal gains is exploitation of the very people who look like you and are willing to support you blindly. Again, if the video evidence provides that he is in fact defending himself, I am happy to change my mind. But I feel like if the video did prove that, I feel like they would have blasted it by now. They'd be like, look, see, he's just an innocent, misunderstood kid who wouldn't hurt a fly. Anyways, we'll see. I'm going to be following this case closely. How do you feel about this case? Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching my video, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.